So what I'm going to show you in this video is my day trading scalp strategy setup. Now, I generally use NinjaTrader to trade, but if you're wanting to use TOS, this is pretty much the same setup, and I'm going to show you how to set up your order entries so you can use them and enter directly off the chart, just like NinjaTrader allows you to do. Now, first off, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set up a few settings on our chart, just so we have them how we like them. So first off, our ticker is /ES on Thinkorswim. And then we're going to want to change it to a 2000 tick chart. So we're going to come over here and go to time frame. We're just going to go to tick. And then today, you can go more days if you want more data, but usually today is enough. And then just scroll this until you get 2000 ticks, or you could write down and enter it there. Now, so that's going to change us to a 2000 tick chart here. Now what we're going to want to do here now is we're going to want to do a few different settings on the chart. Now first, the one study I use, we're going to want to add a 21 EMA. So I just type in expo for exponential, and then we can double click on this or right click to go to properties and then change this to a 21 exponential moving average. And then you can change your colors. I kind of like a blue color. That's completely up to you, of course, and then we're just going to add that in there. Now, a few other chart settings we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to chart settings up here. Now, because we're trading a tick chart, if we go to futures here, we're going to want to take off the volume because generally the volume is relatively the same, and that doesn't really matter. A tick chart is already showing you the volume. Now, if we want to go to appearance, I like to add on or have the grid chart on here because if I just quickly zoom in here, you can see it gives you a horizontal line for every 1 point value. So it allows you to see how tall or, how many points each candlestick is, and then how far you need to go in the market to get that 1 point scalp. And so that is under appearance here, and then just click grid. And then a few other things is expansion area to the right. I like to keep this about 5-ish. All this does is it controls this area between your most recent bar and how many bars there are, or just this space here, right? And so if you want a lot, you can add 10, or if you want none, you can have 0. For some reason, I just like that little bit of space there. That's completely up to you as well. I would make sure this time zoom is off. Now, if you have a few different weird things happen, see if this works, helps you out better. But I think for this time zoom, unclicked actually works a little better. Now, if we go back to general, there's a few other settings you might want. Here you can click to show trades. This will just show you your entry fills and your exit fills. It's a little harder to see on TOS sometimes if you want to show that exactly and see that. Now, another thing for drawings, you might want to add OHLC, and that just means open, high, low, close. And all that does is when you're drawing, if I just have a drawing here, it'll snap. You see that it jumps to the highs, and so it makes it really easy to draw your line. So if I just want to say, oh, this is the high, I'm going to draw, it'll quickly snap to that. And so I don't have to be super precise when I'm clicking. Instead of trying to precisely draw, I can just click the actual high, right? And so that's a really easy way to have that set up. Now that's pretty much it for the chart. Now one last thing too is down here, this is the tick counter. I like to do down. Of course, that's personal preference as well. And then as well is if you notice that your chart, as the candlesticks start forming and it starts going off the chart, you're going to want to right click on auto zoom and then click and drag and zoom in, or you can also click on this little magnifying glass. TOS is really finicky with how it locks your chart. If you do that auto zoom and zoom in like this, it'll keep that zoom and it'll move your chart along and keep the chart in your screen as it forms. But if you do anything like control and click and then start moving it around, that kind of breaks it out of that initial lock. And so then you will have problems with it moving off the screen. Now you can see here, I have extra space now, more than I had before. And that's because I did that control, that left control click and drag. And so again, to just change that, you just go back to settings and then time axis, and then here are the expansion bars to the right. You can see it updated there and changed because I did move that. Now for actually entering in trades, you're going to want to open up the Active Trader tab. For either of these ways I'm going to show, you still need this open up, because a big feature we want is the auto send. We want that to be already in the system. And this is just going to allow you to quickly send in an order without having to click any confirmation, which can just increase your time to enter in an order and can cause you to miss trades. Now, a few things you want to do is in setup and application settings, we're going to want to go to order defaults, futures, and then just change our order increments to be 1. And so this will just make it so when we're setting up orders, it's a lot easier to click to add one at a time. And then we want to go back to general, active trader, and then make sure your settings look like this. We don't want to reset our active trader order template after sending, because we're going to want to be trading the same, scalp bracket order or the scalp plus runner bracket order every time. And if you have this clicked, it'll reset that every time, and that just, that's another annoying thing that you're going to have to do. So those are all the settings we want. And then one last quick thing too is you can zoom in and zoom out your active trader. You're going to want it all the way zoomed in. It should be all the way zoomed in, but in case it isn't, you just want to make sure you can see every tick on here. Now, just to quickly show you what I'm going to do is how we're going to enter in trades is usually for our strategy, we like to enter in, let's say we wanted to enter in long here, right? And we wanted to enter in above this bar right here. What we'd want to do is we'd want to enter in right above the bar. And so we want to get that value, right? And so the active trader tab, it's kind of hard to do that, right? We can see, okay, the price is 32.75 or 32.50. Now we have to go over here and find that, right? So here's the current price, 32, right? It takes a little while, right? And so what we're going to want to do is an easier way is just right click and buy custom. And I already have 2 custom orders set up here. So we can just do a scalp, and that's going to already put that order in there. And because we have that auto send, we didn't have to confirm anything. And so there's our bracket order of our 1-point scalp and our 2-point stop. And right now, because the market is closed and the market is insanely volatile this week, the 1-point scalp and 1-point stop doesn't really work. And so that's why you don't always want to be trading this in market conditions, because right now the market conditions actually don't work as well for this strategy just because it is so volatile. And so this is kind of what you're going to have. And then if I just quickly show you the runner one, here's the runner one as well. And the one thing about toss that's kind of annoying is for the runner, you have to have 2 different OCO orders because it needs to keep them separate. And so if you need to move your stop to match a certain high or certain low, like if we wanted to put our stop below this price here, we got to move both of those, and that's kind of frustrating. On the active trader tab, you can, if they are on the same one right here, you can drag them at the same time. So that is kind of a nice there, but that is still kind of a nuisance when it comes to the trading. So I will show you how to set these up. And then there is also another kind of strategy you can use over on here if I want to then set up just a bracket order and trade off the active trader tab. Now, I'm going to walk you through how to set these up, but if you just don't care to know how to set them up or customize them, I am going to share these in the description below. These 2 custom orders here, I'm just going to share those in the description below. Now, if you don't know how to share or open a shared item, you just go to setup at the top right and then click open shared item. And that link in the description will look something like this right here. And don't click on that link, just copy and paste it and paste it right in here and then open it. And when you right click and do buy or sell custom order, you will see that open up here. Now it might go under a name that I'll share it at, and so you might want to just create that and then save it yourself under a different name. Now, one nice thing is it doesn't matter which you do, if you do buy or sell, no matter how these are set up, they will automatically switch to being a buy or sell. And so to make one of these from scratch, we're going to just want to quickly click off our auto send so we can edit the order. And then I'm just going to go with buy custom with OCO bracket. Now that's one of the default ones that it has. And what this is going to bring up is just an entry that is a limit order and then a stop and a limit order. Now, the limit order is always going to be defaulted to be 1 point away, and the stop is going to be defaulted to be 1 point away. We're going to want to increase this stop to be 2 points because that's generally what our base bracket order is at. Now, one other thing we want to change is we want to change our entry order to be a stop, because usually when we're wanting to enter in above a candle or below a candle when it breaks, and so we want to use a stop order for that. And then over here, this is just where we can increase or decrease the number of orders we have, and so we can just change that to 1 because this can be our 1 point scalp. And so setting up just the basic scalp is really simple. If you just want to increase your contracts, you just do that over here, but this will always save at the 1 point or 2 point increment difference. So you don't have to worry about, even though you're saving it at these current prices, it'll always know for your profit target to be 1 point away and your stop loss to be 2 points away. It doesn't matter what the prices say right here. And then if you want to save that, you're just going to click this little button here next to the delete button, and then you can save that here as 1 point scalp or something. I already have it saved, so I'm actually not going to save it, but that's where you would save that. Now, one thing to keep in mind and one thing to really caution here is, because this is a stop, if you accidentally enter in a buy stop below the market, so let me just show that here, right? So if I just click on auto send and right click down here and do a buy custom with our scalp, which is going to just be this exact order here. It's a buy stop. Because it's a buy stop, it's automatically going to get filled, and it's going to fill in at the current market price. It's not going to fill in at that. Because it's a buy stop, how it works is if it's below the current market price, no matter what, it's just going to put in a market order to the current market and just fill you right away. And then because you have a stop order in place, it's then going to put a sell order in right away. So you essentially bought at the market and sold at the market, and then lost commissions and lost potential slippage or anything, right? And so you want to be making sure that you are putting those orders above the market. And see here we have that stop order above the market, and so it's not going to fill. But or vice versa, for a sell, we want the sell be below the market. And so with these orders, if you're going to want to put in a limit order, if the market, takes off without you and you want to put in a limit order to see if it comes back, fills you, and then takes off again, you're going to have to make your own custom order to do that for you. So if we just go back to the order here with OCO bracket, you're going to have to recreate one with a limit, and then make sure you change your stop to be another 2 points, make sure it's 2 points away, and then you're going to need to save it as, let's say, a limit scalp. And so I can save that one and I can share that one for you guys, but that's going to be what you're going to want to do as well if you're going to want to do a limit. The nice thing about the active trader is, if you see right here, it says stop over here and then limit if you go below the market. So that's one thing that's nice about the active trader, is it knows to make that change. Now, before we look at more at the active trader brackets, I'm going to show you how to make a runner bracket as well, so we can do, enter a runner strategy if you're wanting to do a runner instead of just a basic scalp. So again, we're just going to go with a basic OCO bracket, and then from here we're going to want to change this to stop limit again, or stop order, sorry. And then down here on advanced orders, we want to change it to first triggers to OCO. And then before we go look at that, we're going to want to make sure our stop is 2 points away again. So 225, that's going to be 2 points away from our entry, and then our target's always going to default at 1 point, so we're good there. And then with this, it sucks in TOS, you can't make it larger, so I can't make this easier for you to read. But we're going to want to go to mouse over your limit order, your sell limit order, and right click and then duplicate order, and then do the same thing for your stop order here. Just right click and duplicate. And then you'll see that you want to make sure these little links here are here, and it'll mean that these two orders are linked and then these two orders are linked. So you have those two bracket orders. And then make sure, because you're only buying 2 contracts here, you need to make sure your sell contracts match that as well. So you want one of the brackets to be one contract and one bracket to be the other contract. And then we want to make sure that our limits and stops are set to be what we want. So we want our stops to be at 2.25, and so there they are. So they're 2 points away, so our stops are good. And then we want our runner limit to be higher than just the 1 point, because we want to let that runner run, right? So we're going to want to just put it 10 points, however many you feel comfortable above the market, so then it'll give you time to deal with that once the order is filled. Now, if you want to add more contracts, we could go 3 here and do 2 scalps and 1 runner. And so this looks like it's set up right, and then we can just save custom order again, and that can just be 2 scalp, 1 runner. And so then we can just save that, and again, that will always change based on if we do sell or buy. So you don't have to make a sell order or a buy order again. You just got to be, okay, I want to buy custom 2 scalp plus runner, and it will then do that for you. Now, I'd had already orders open, so it's going to want me to do that again. And so here we have that, and then if I want to do sell, it's just going to flip it for us. We don't have to create that twice. And so that should be all set up there for if you're wanting to do the entry strategy of right-clicking on the chart. If you want to enter in over here, what you're going to want to do is just do trigger with bracket. And then all you need to do here is, this is your limit, this is your stop, and you're just going to want to make your stop 2 points away. And that's going to be your basic scalp bracket right there. We can just set a buy stop here, and there's your basic bracket there for you. Now, to save it, all you're going to do is this little button right here. You can save it as your scalp. And then if you want to make a runner, it's just going to be 2 brackets. And then just make sure you have your stops the same. And then have your 1 limit of your 1 bracket that's going to be your runner. Just put that up at 5 or 10. And then you're going to have that good there. So right here, one thing to note is this quantity right here. This is not how many brackets of this you're buying. This is how many contracts you're getting. So if I put this down to 1, it's only going to have this runner bracket. So you want to make sure this is at least having the right amount of contracts for this bracket. And then if you want more, you can have it like this at 4. So if we wanted to have 3 scalp and 1 runner, this is how we would have that. This number is how many contracts you're buying, not how many brackets or full-on orders you're buying here. And then again, to save that, just this custom save button over here, and then you can go from there. And so once you have that, it's just going to show up in this area down here below the default orders. And then you can also delete, and there's also a last configuration button here too. But if we enter in here, if I just quickly get filled in the market, and it'll show you, so if that order got filled now, because we had that 1 setting to keep this won't go away. But if you have that unclicked, it'll automatically go back to single order. So you want to definitely make sure you have that clicked, or that setting. Again, that setting is just up here in setup under application settings. And then I believe it's under active trader, and it's just this reset at the money order template after sending. And so that's what that at the money template order is. And then so I'm just going to flatten this and get out. So let me know if you're wanting to use the active trader tab over entering in on right clicking on the chart, because there is an indicator to make for the active trader tab that will kind of show you where the high and the low of the last chart is to make it easier to enter. So let me know if that is an indicator you would be interested in, and I will see if I can get that made for you guys. Now, I will only make it if you kind of let me know, so definitely let me know if that's something you want. Now, with these templates on the active trader tab, I cannot share those, but with the ones where you right click the custom orders here, I can share those for you guys. So definitely look at those in the description below. And if you have any questions or any other ideas or needs that you have about setting this up on Thinkorswim, don't hesitate to reach out and ask in the comments or contact me personally. Now, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a good day.